Just need some sugar.
Is everyone ready? Floor's open for Allan.
We had a look at the pitch, huh?
Yes.
What was it?
Very good wicket actually. We've had sometimes we've had a look at a couple and you think it looks a belter of a wicket, and then there's something in it right throughout the Test match. But I think this one really is nice and hard. Yesterday, from where they've taken out samples of the pitch, you do put your finger down there. It's quite, there's not a lot of moisture, but it's. I think this will be a very good Test pitch. I think that these days you look across the world, it's very difficult to say it will go 5 days because. There's so much quality cricket around the world right now, and the results hardly end in 5 days. So, but I've got a feeling this will be a grafting wicket, definitely.
Different pitch from the New Zealand game, do you think?
There's a bit of grass on it. It's not lively grass. It's a good even grass covering. I think that there'll be nice pace and carry. And traditionally, when the pitch here at Newlands gets harder. You expect it to get a little bit more uneven as the Test match goes on. I don't also think it will dent the wicket as whoever bowls first. I think it will be a top-notch test pitch this time around. I think that probably better than the New Zealand wicket, definitely.
Sorry, just on the wicket, do you feel that because it looks like a wicket that might go a bit longer, that Newlands is traditionally a spinner's wicket, that might give Pakistan a little bit more help than the one you said?
Oh, we certainly don't want that. We certainly don't want to bring their spinners into it for sure. But when I say there's a nice good grass covering, I don't think it'll sort of break up. No, I don't think that there will be foot marks, and a couple might spin out the foot marks, but I don't think it'll rag square. No, not like that.
Having kept an eye on the domestic competition this summer, there have been quite a few low totals and that type of thing. Is there a deliberate plan for pitches to be prepared to be more seamer friendly across the board, do you think?
I think it's very important that we sit with stakeholders and when we sit with coaches and discuss this issue, moving around the country, there's one or two people that have come out and said that might be the case. But, when we're so involved with South Africa, with the Proteas, you keep your eye on the first class circuit, yes, but you don't really take notice of those kind of issues going on. So I think it's important from our perspective that we do get to the bottom of it. No, I'm not really aware of guys being, so not, I suppose the word's not arrogant about it, but I mean it's guys are a little bit peeved off about the pitches in South Africa. So our pitches have always done a bit. I'm aware of that, but I'm not really aware of the situation right now.
I mean, just because the Test team is sort of built around the quick bowlers doing so well, do you think that's translating at a lower level?
Well, one thing I can say is that I think from my perspective, is our education of young Test bowlers is vital for South Africa. Is that we play on, I can say, and I'd love to see our young guys bowl on good flat wickets. And I think that anyone can rock up on a day and land a ball and the pitch does the rest. But I think a lot of thinking that goes around in 4-day cricket or Test cricket of how to get people out on flat decks and strategize around that. I think that's a big thing. So it's important that we educate our young quicks to think for themselves, to strategize for themselves, and to come up with different plans. And that's why we play Test cricket. That in difficult scenarios that you have to figure it out and come up with a plan B when it's not going so well. So from that perspective, it's absolutely imperative.
Just to add on to that, and from what you've seen, obviously you don't look at first class cricket as you say that much, but just how happy are you with the bowling depth around first class cricket at the moment, the next level?
Well, we've had obviously young Chris Morris is exciting. We've just had a session now with Buren, if that's the way you say it, in the nets, and I was really surprised. I mean, he's only 22 years old. He's a big, strong man. Quite enjoy. He's taken 49 wickets this year, and from what I've seen, we've got a little gem on the way. So that's very exciting. But I still think it, in a way, it's probably on a thinnish side, having a look around the country. But we don't really get to see our youngsters, myself, at first class level quite a lot. But from what I've heard, it's quite exciting for the future. Yeah.
2 wickets of no balls in the previous test. How frustrating is that for you, and why does it happen?
It's definitely my fault. No, I just think, look, the guys know at this level it's really unacceptable, and we police it at every practice, and when we say we police it, we really do keep an eye on our discipline and our training and not going over that line. But we can't, and if I go on the no-ball stats in the last calendar year, we stopped at 118. I think it's probably now at about 124 or 126. So for an international team, that's not acceptable. And we've set very high standards for ourselves, and that is a no-go zone at the moment. It's without making guys nervous about it. I think it's just a personal responsibility of the individual to try and sort that out. So we're on top of that.
Do you have any ideas? Is it a mental thing, or?
I think, yeah, if I speak from a personal point of view, yes, it is. It's not that someone, it's not like Mornay or Vernon or Dale has got problems. Dale is probably the one guy that has probably sort that one out. But it is very much a mental thing to make sure that you stay strong in every delivery and making sure that you don't get mentally sloppy. So I mean, that is purely. It's not from that you've got any guys who have those kind of issues. It just needs to be sorted out, and it's up here.
When one day cricket 5 or 6 years ago brought in the free hit, it sort of stopped.
Don't make bowling even more difficult.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that bowlers were then forced not to do it, and for the most part they did. Why can they do it in one day cricket and it's still a problem in test? If you understand,
yeah,
is that the mental thing?
Yeah, it is, and that will probably come as well.
Yeah.
The free hit in test cricket. I mean, where's the game going to? I mean, it's just a discipline thing, and it's discipline, being mentally disciplined. That's all it is, really.
People like me know nothing about bowling, so why don't they just make their run-ups 5 centimeters longer?
No, it's not making it longer. It's guys measure out their run-ups, and they know exactly from where they take off, where they land. They got it all sorted out. Sometimes it goes well, and sometimes you're a little bit tight, and you just wonder. I think it's not paying when you do get a little bit close. I think that you just get a little bit sloppy. Discipline's a bit sloppy. So, but that needs to be sorted out.
You gained a lot of media attention a while ago by saying the South African attack is probably the best we've seen, and well, since then they've proved it. I mean, where do you think they all in history attacks? If you go back to Linville and Miller and people like that, I mean,
Sure.
How would you rank them in that situation?
I don't know. It's difficult for me. You take Peter Pollock and Mike Proctor. If they were sitting next to me here now, they'd probably disagree with that. They'd probably say that they were the best attack. Peter Heine, Neil Adcock, Garth Leroux. These guys were all fantastic bowlers within their own right. But what I can say is that in my playing days, and I've played with a lot of guys like Sean Pollock, Richard Snell, Fanie de Villiers, and Brian McMillan, and they were fantastic. But I think that this current crop is, without a doubt, and I'm not just saying it because I have to say it, it's because I believe that they are. This attack is definitely the best I've seen. I think collectively, when there's a change of bowler, you just feel. Brendan McCullum had dinner the other night, and he just said he never felt so much pressure coming from both ends. And the heat is relentless from both ends, and the pace is relentless from both ends. So I think that's a big accolade for this group of people, and I think that and that's just keeping in check with their attitude every day to make sure that we're on top of that we stay relentless in our approach every day. So, but look, it's fantastic to work with this group of people for sure, and that's why I didn't hesitate when I said that this. Definitely the best attack I've seen.
Do you have to? Do you have to keep their heads small, or will they grow
No,
up?
they honestly they got their feet on the ground, and I think that in our team meetings there's something that Gary hammers home every single time, is to stay humble in our processes, humble who we play against, and humble in our own personal space. And I think that that's what these blokes do very well, because we see Mother Cricket she's a tough old lady, and she kicks you where it hurts if you take it for granted. So that's our job, to make sure that we keep our guys' attitude in check when it comes to getting too cocky with it.
Just when you talk about this bowling attack as a unit, does it also help the fact, even though they're 4 right-arm bowlers, that they're all different in the way that they bowl? It's not a similar attack that people in the past, maybe South Africa has been criticised for the sameness of the bowlers. Do you think that also helps?
What does help is that you've got 4 people who know their games absolutely inside out, and that's a great bonus to have. And it's not like someone who's coming as a rookie and you need to sit down and guide him through about test lengths and strategizing around that, or batsmen. You've got 3 guys who understand their roles 100% and where they fit in, and they know their actions, they know their lengths, and they adapt to that on different conditions very, very well. And I think that's the bonus. You can't coach that. That's a really nice position to be in. But what we do say, and what I said earlier on, is that we check with our attitudes every day, that we make sure we don't take anything for granted.
Coach, Alan, Robbie Key was talking yesterday about maybe feeling a little bit on the outside, because the pacemen are doing all the work and sometimes he doesn't even bowl. What's the feel around the spin strategy now, and how do you look to make him more included in things, if at all?
Well, the training, we spend a lot of time together on simply his action. I know he played in Bloemfontein the other day. He didn't get a bowl that much there either. So he bowled 16 overs in the game, I think, and took 2 for. So, but his time will come. There's no doubt about it that his time will come. And, so he's a patient guy. Robbie is a very professional individual, and he knows that too. But you cannot fault his work ethic at nets and his work ethic on during test time. So, me and him work hard, and especially in his action, that he stays very solid in his action. And he's got every now and again gets a little bit lazy through the impact zone, so it's something that we're working on technically. But in terms of keeping him happy, and he said it as well today, that don't worry about me, I'll be okay, because my time will eventually come. So he's an experienced campaigner.
Do you just see? How do you see the role of the spinner? Because it's almost like you don't need a spinner at the moment.
Well, we don't play on wickets that really. We haven't played on wickets really that has been that spinner friendly. But the job that he does for us, and if you saw the test match in Perth, where he kept it nice and tight. Thing with Rob is that he's experienced, but he's tactically very good. That's where he's come into the game beautifully. He's capable of holding an end up, of rotating our seamers from one end. But yes, when he says his time will come, we go to Sri Lanka in a one-day series. We'll get to India at some stage, or subcontinent, Bangladesh. So I'm sure he'll be okay.
Gosh, just 2 quick questions. The fans have been urged to come in and say farewell to Mark Boucher. That's what the match has been used for. Have you played with him and coached with him? Just a few words on Mark. And also, just if you don't mind to answer Telford's question in Afrikaans, but where would you rate this current crop of fast bowlers?
Answer to your first question, Mark. We're good old buddies. I think the first time my recollection of him coming in 1996 in Pakistan as this young, pretty little thing walking in our change room, and in the first team meeting, as he called himself back then, pretty little thing. The first team meeting you don't expect a rookie just to stand up and talk, and I think that when he made a point in that team meeting, you made you sit back and wow, that was quite impressive from a young guy, and he showed leadership qualities then. I think the great thing about Mark is you don't have to tell him to get get things stirred up. He knows how to fire things up and get people into a battle. And I think that's where he's been fantastic behind the stumps. And then when the times where you needed Mark Boucher to come and bat for his life and his country, he stood up. He stood up, and I think the test match in India was one of those. When we beat India 2-0 in Bangalore, the second test, when he chased those runs down. I mean, fantastic cricketer for South Africa, a great friend, and there's no doubt that, you know, he'll certainly be missed from that perspective. Just his toughness. He's a scrapper. He's, you know, nicknamed him since '96. He's a scrapper. His nickname, and I think he's shown that. Sorry, what was your second question?
Just a repeat of Telford's question about the current crop of fast bowlers. I didn't understand of the time.
Nou gaan my baie dinge vra, jong. Nou mooi dink. Ek dink you believe that I'm Afrikaans, but I mean, ek dink die balaanval wat ons het op die oomblik is by verre die beste aanval in Suid-Afrika. Ek dink Sean Pollock het dit gesê 'n paar jaar terug. Het hy gesê dat hy glo dat Suid-Afrika is nie baie ver weg van die beste baalaanval nie. En ek dink van wat ons nou gesien het is dit definitief so. Ek dink net die vier manne wat, jy weet, almal het hulle eie style, maar ek dink is net die experience wat hulle het en hulle vaardighede wat hulle bring na die game toe wat hulle baie spesiaal maak. Hulle verstaan hulle aksies, hulle ken hulle rolle. Dit maak dit baie makliker om af te rig. So my job regtig waar is net om elke dag te seker te maak dat hulle attitude teenoor wat hulle doen is 100% reg.
Hulle gaan terug laat op die